it's recording.
Okay, we're ready to go.
So, do we have any questions?
Well, an introduction, for those who may not know, I'm Master Robert Danegeld, and lady, yes, I said my lady. Your name, your,
Baroness Anna Loxley.
thank you. And as some of the founding members of Danegeld Tor, as founding seneschal, I believe,
Yes.
and I was, what did I do besides?
Marshall.
Yeah,
And support
Marshall
me.
And fetch and carry.
a few things, yes, general gopher and whatnot. Try to give some recollection of the history of Danegeld Tor, when it started, why we tried to attempt such a feat, and many adventures and
Well,
along the way.
part of it was I got tired of going to the Golden Rivers practice, and you don't have to put that in there. But because it was such a drive, and
Yeah.
and there was a whole big group of people coming from our area, and I thought, why are we part of Golden Rivers? They're way down there, we're way up here.
Yeah.
Why are we part of them? So I was like, okay, so I talked to the Golden River Seneschal and said, okay, is it okay if we start towards a group? Maybe become a riding of Golden Rivers for a little while and then move on to Shire. And she's like, I don't have a problem with that. And so then we talked to a few other people, higher ups. They didn't give us all the details because, well, they don't. After we made our presentation to be a Shire, I'm getting a little ahead of myself, they told us, oh, you have more things to do.
Yeah, we had some more work to get done, but
We had to pull the entire populace of Golden Rivers. You know how many letters I got back? 3.
This was in the day and age out of snail mail.
Yes.
Or what is referred to now as snail mail.
Exactly, and so they had to all be pulled so that they could complain if they wanted to. And then, so we did that. The coming up with the name part was kind of fun. The park, Rush Park was our first park for fighter practice. And where we were, squirrels were all constantly being run over. And somebody, I think it was him, because he's got a big house
I would put it
everywhere.
on Sean Grayson.
No, I believe it was Zot.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, it was
Who
making.
came up with the wonderful gray squirrel flats?
We even had a device design, but we didn't submit
I'm not
it.
taking that bullet. I was
Squirrel displayed on density black.
But so, I spent a lot of time, let's see, Gina and Mike were there, I forget their SCA names. Of course, Bob and I, and our kids, Raina and Gilbert. There were a couple of others at the beginning, I can't remember their names now. But, we were.
I came to visit.
Yeah, we were kind of discussing what we wanted the group to be, and they all liked fighting, they all liked raiding their neighbors, and
Bloodthirsty group back then.
yeah, that was the group back then. They were all, a lot of them were fighters, so they wanted to, have fun doing little things everywhere. So I went home and I was like, okay, we want to kind of go with a Danish,
Viking.
A Viking
Both
theme.
of us were Viking personas.
a Norse persona of some type. And so I was looking around for different things, and all of a sudden I saw this word Danegeld, and I was like, what does that word mean? So I looked it up, and I was like, ooh, that's cool.
Fortunately, it doesn't mean what it sounds like.
And then so when we first submitted our
Hey,
name,
look at that.
I took it to the Heralds, and they said Danegeld isn't enough. You have to have a place, not just Danegeld, because that's all we were going to call it at first. And then I was talking, I think, to Fleeg, and Fleeg said, just add Tor to it. It's Danegeld Hill, And so we did, and it, thus Danegeld Tor, the name, at least, was born. And then when we made our first presentation, we had our name, but we hadn't talked to the powers that be. And so they said, that's a great presentation, but you need to come back and do it again, and you need to go through all these steps, one of which was poll the populace, and then get all your officers in a row and do all these little steps that you had to do, sort of things. And it was weird because nobody that I had known of had ever had a poll the populace. They just asked us to do it, which is strange.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Maybe, yeah.
I think that we did such a great presentation, they wanted us to do it again.
Encore.
Yeah, but finally we get all of our ducks in a row, get everything taken care of, and I think Siobhan Cloverdale was the Kingdom Seneschal at that time.
Yep.
And I was working with her closely. We were friends outside of knowing each other as Seneschals. And so she finally gave approval for, we'd done everything and we had the approval to go forward. So then it was time to figure out what sort of presentation we wanted to make to the royalty when we did our stuff. We went crazy. Seriously, we went crazy. We had this big board and it was full of food. I made a Viking ship out of watermelon, and I wanted to use daikon radishes and dye them purple and yellow, but they didn't have any. So I couldn't use them, so I bought purple fruit roll-ups and cut them and made them into stands. And
This big Viking ship and all kinds of things around it on this big carry.
it was full of fruit. By the way, speaking of that, we have a video of that presentation. It's on VHS tape, but I cannot get it transferred off of VHS tape. So until that can happen, it stays in my...
Our
It's
IT
kinda
guy,
locked up.
Huh?
I think Reese can.
yeah, I believe Reese can, because he's going to transfer this.
Okay,
to digital,
JP has a way
so-
to do that. As soon as I can find the tape again, because I'm packed up,
Yeah.
I will,
I didn't know there was a video.
Yes.
yeah, there was a video tape of it. Anyway, and on the board there were also swans made out of melons. I learned to do knife carving with fruit.
Yes,
Way too much.
you did fantastic presentations.
Apple
And
birds and all kinds
We
of.
had all kinds of little stuff, and then we had it full of cheeses and meats and breads and
Wasn't-
everything else we could think of.
Wasn't it on a door?
Yeah, I think so.
It was set up as a big table with handles on it.
But that was
And
full.
we hid the whole affair under our Viking pavilion right in front of,
We were off to the side. The king and queen were here. We were off to the side with our little Viking pavilion towards back.
yes,
And it was all covering everything we had to present. And when it was time for us to present, 4 guys picked up the Viking pavilion, and the 4 people on the inside picked up the groaning board. They picked that up, and we all walked towards their royalty. When we had to stop and bow, then the tent got set down, and the other people came and stepped out, and we pulled it out in front of all the royalty there. And,
big reveal and walked up.
They were just like blown away. They came back to us the next day saying, man, that was amazing. You guys should have come and eat with us. We couldn't eat anything, all of it at all. And, but yeah, it was pretty fun. And they were quite surprised and amazed. And of course, we had little gifts. I don't remember what those little gifts were, but we had little gifts for them. Probably napkins or something, I don't know.
Had a lot of people in the group that were very craft oriented and productive.
Yep.
And so we were able to put on quite a display.
Well, it's good to know things haven't changed.
So it was an early tradition to start.
Yeah, no, we had lots of crafts and stuff going on. We had all fighter practices going on. We would, after we became, instead of having to go through the incipient Shire status, because we were doing that between when we presented, the 2 years between when we were presented and when we were given the Shireship, we had requested that would be a writing, and then we changed that to an incipient Shire. And then I wrote to Siobhan and said, you know, this has been 2 years in the making. Can we just become Shire at this point, instead of waiting 2 more years as incipient Shire? And she said, sure, let's do that. And so we became a Shire at that event, and I forget which event it was. It was a principality, I think.
Yeah.
Belton. Yeah. So, yeah, and that was kind of fun. And after we became a shire, we would get groups of fighters and their hanger-ons like me and whoever else wanted to go. And we'd travel up to Bockerfell or even up to Chico area, and we would raid their places and stop by, if we knew where someone lived, we'd stop by their house and put burning flames around it. And we were laying on that.
Cutting out cardboard and then painting it up as flames and go out and set it around.
We totally played on the whole Danegeld Tor thing, you know. Danegeld is, you gotta pay us to stay away. So, we're here.
Protection racket.
Yes. The idea behind that was that you must make sure your neighbors are strong so that they will be able to take care of any invasions before they reach me, and before they get here. So we want to make sure that they're in good fighting order and keep our borders strong.
But they also raided us. They would show up at our fighter practice sometimes.
Nothing has changed.
We had the audacity to win most of those.
It was totally fun. And our first event, I think, was what we called a peasants' revel or something like that. That was up in Yuba City. And we had tokens, and you had to collect this amount of tokens, and whoever had the most tokens got a prize. And we had all sorts of games and all sorts of frivolity happening. And there was not a serious bone in anybody's body that weekend except for those putting the event on. And
What's that into work?
yeah, they had a lot of fun, and you know, and you could bargain with people and say they were getting ready to go home and they had all these little tokens. You could say, oh, I'll do such and such for you if you'll give me your tokens.
Mm-hmm.
I had to create a banner for somebody because you know, he gave me his token, so I created his banner for him, that kind of thing. We would have regular meetings at our house for fighter practice, armoring, cooking classes, sewing, all sorts of things.
I still have all my armor patterns.
He does, he has all of his armor patterns still. And people came over there, I remember Ken Herring, what was his name again? Elric. Ken, ex-military, and I had little kids at the time, and we had people who come over who were smoking, and we're not smokers. And they would just drop their butts, and my kids would pick them up. And I was like, this is not good. So I talked to Ken, and Ken goes, okay. He took everybody, all the smokers out in the front yard and said, okay, pick up your butts. Now, here's how you field strip them and put them in your pocket.
Give them the military rundown, field stripping and disposal.
And after that, I didn't have to worry about my kids picking up stuff they shouldn't pick up.
Gave me a speech plan about parallel nicotine.
Yeah. We are vegetarians, but I didn't restrict what people brought to my house for my dietary preferences. They could bring anything they want, but if they wanted to cook, they had to bring their own pans. They had to bring their own cutting board if they wanted to use a cutting board, because I didn't want to get sick from anything that got left behind. But everybody was happy. Everybody loved it. It was fun. The only time that anybody got stressed out, you don't have to leave us in there, was
Too late.
was when one of their daughters, they were sleeping in our bedroom, and the little kids, and she locked the door from the inside. And the parents were freaking out. And all we had to do was go take the screen out, climb into the window, and take care of it. But that was a little bit of drama. But that was the only thing really that I can think of that was an issue. Sorry about that. I should have turned off my phone.
For some of the feasts, I'd make the Gutenberg vegetarian turkey. It looked like a full-blown turkey. Remember that?
We had a feast at our house, and he has a friend, Wilmer Steiner, who has been doing food service for a long time. Yeah. And he made these cute little apple turkeys for our feast. I had to remove all furniture from my living room, set it up, tables and chairs and stuff, so that we could fit everybody who wanted to come. But we had our first Danegeld Tor Christmas sort of feast at our house, and we had all kinds of food, but we made our vegetarian turkey, which everybody loved. And then we had all sorts of other food on there. It was just crazy how much we fit into such a tiny little space.
Yeah, it's like 1/4 of this room right there with about 20 some.
We were smaller then.
We were so
Skinny, I guarantee that.
But anyway, yeah, that was kind of fun, and then let's see, we did events, as Danegeld Tor. We did kingdom event level events. We did principality level events. The biggest one I think was the one down south of here a little ways. That was a little crazy, but we did it. We got through it and made it work. Let's see, what else?
What point?
Any point.
Jeez.
Well, the officers got elected the next rounds and passed on the torch to the next in line.
What's that?
I can see where there's been some officer changes.
Yeah.
Some names I don't recognize, but that's.
Yeah. We had a scroll made for Danegeld Tor when we became a full shire. And that got passed, unfortunately, on to the next seneschal because I didn't feel it was my right to keep it because it should be in Danegeld Tor.
It's gone.
And it's gone. Aricia made that.
Ooh.
And
Nice old one.
yeah, it was beautiful. It was really nice. But it has since disappeared, so we don't have that anymore. I was hoping it was in my stuff, but I didn't find it.
Didn't show up.
You don't know who has it?
I had no idea.
Well, whoever took over as seneschal when you
Yeah.
stepped down and I
It could have
kind
gone
of
2 or 3,
remember
4.
who that was.
Yeah,
It's
But
been a while.
It's
it
been a
may not
long
be
time.
activated.
And
Yeah.
in 2008 when we came back,
yeah,
it's,
yeah. So,
it did not come to the next seneschal at that point.
right. And that's sad because it was beautiful. And of course, Aricia does a great job. And I don't know if she's still in the SCA or not.
She is.
Okay.
Well, Bucky is.
Okay. But we did a lot of demonstrations, we did demos all over the place, and we learned a few things. If you give a kid a rattan stick to hit a fighter, what happens is they beat on your shield until your shield goes home broken. So what we did was we started giving the fighter a boffer sword, and the kid the rattan
Dressing
sword.
them. Yeah,
And
carpet
put a little
armor and
helmet on
helmet
And they
a
would
shield,
come in
and then
there.
they'd have to swing the rattan sword.
Yeah.
So it's all they could do is swing that sword.
We stopped coming home with broken shields. But the kids loved it because they were in the armor, they were using this heavy sword, and they were holding a light, like a boffer shield.
Yeah.
It wasn't anything heavy to make them weigh down. We just wanted them to get the feel for the sword, single-handed. And then we realized that we had someone come, I forget the name thankfully, we had someone come, couldn't pull his blows when he was working with the kids. So then we learned that we had to make sure that the fighter knew how to pull their blows so that they wouldn't hurt the kids. Our point is never
Demo
hurt the
training.
kids, you know? So you had to teach the fighters how to pull their blows if they didn't already
Touch
know,
tag.
so that you could make sure no kid got hurt. I mean, we wanted to be out. We got asked to the Springview School up there in
Several times.
several times, quite a few times. They liked us to come back over and over and over again. And then at several other schools, I think there's an Edward Ike School or something, Ike Middle School or something like that. And I would ask the teachers, I say, hey, can you give the kids an assignment where they can write us a letter and tell us what they thought, what they liked the best and stuff like that. And so then I get these fat envelopes from the teachers with all the kids' little letters in them and stuff. And sometimes I just drew, but most of the time they tried to write. And then sometimes the teachers would write thanking us for being there and doing stuff. We would probably do 2 demos a week there during the school year, 2 demos a week, just to fulfill what everybody wanted us to do. And not every school wrote to us, but the ones that did called us back over and over and over again. So we were happy to go and get to know them. And the teachers by that time got to know us well enough to just, hey, call me up.
Nice.
Yeah. Instead of looking us up saying, I can't remember that person's name, they'll say, hey, Cheryl, can you come? Some of them will call me in because that's how I introduce myself. And that's okay. I don't care either way. Either name works for me because that is my name. Both names. Yeah, then we had, let's see, what else did we do? I know we did plenty. But then I stepped down as seneschal. My kids and all of that was just taking too much of what I could do. And
We also were doing kingdom stuff too.
yeah, I became the exchequer for the kingdom. So there you go. Can't be seneschal and exchequer at the same time. So, yeah, that was actually fun. I enjoyed that job, mostly. Well, you know, if you're an exchequer, you know what the issues are. It isn't the money.
The deputy was Warwick Gunn Warmison?
Yeah.
Yes, this is not a other words.
So are there any questions?
Yes.
Good.
Sorry.
Always.
I just tripped over this. Unto the Populistas, Lady Anna Loxley sent greetings. We have another demo scheduled. This is what I just tie myself in a knot. I totally did. There's something about coins.
About coins?
Yeah.
We were going to make, yes, we did, actually. We had Danegeld Tor coins.
None of your skills. Does anybody have one?
I do probably, but I don't know where.
Okay.
Ask Janae or Beerslayer because of the two of them, or maybe Emmerich, would have some because of money or skill,
Okay.
Yeah,
and they collect them.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
I mean, the description of it is here.
yeah.
We only want one side stamped. The side in which stamps will have the Viking ship, I'm not saying that other word because I can't pronounce it.
Drag bar?
Yeah, that's the word. With the laurel wreath going around the edge of the coin. The coin will also have a hole punched in it at the top between the edges of the laurel wreath.
Yeah.
And there was a picture enclosed of the Viking ship. Blah, blah, blah.
See, I fell in love with Viking ships. I wanted to build my own.
We're gonna order 50 of the
Still
silver
have
shillings.
Yeah.
I think we should look into that again.
There may be
I
a
think so.
response in that paperwork from the Moneyers Guild too.
I haven't found it yet.
Because I think there's a response from the Moneyers Guild and they were telling me what they could and couldn't do.
Okay.
So, and then you would know who it was that I was talking to. Because he signed his name.
Titus of Wormwood,
Yeah.
Minister of the Money Skills.
He's
I just been back.
Titus is still around, I believe.
Yeah.
And Danae is definitely
I just
very
said
involved.
return.
I'm sorry?
I just said return.
Okay,
He's gone for a long time.
Yeah.
We don't do that.
And there's Emmerich.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure he had those amended.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think, yeah, I seem to remember having them, so,
I think we should do that again.
We
Yeah,
should look into it.
I think so.
We should.
And they will pick a couple of novices, assign them, and they will be schooled in the efforts of making many, many coins.
Somebody remember how big they were?
I think they were more like the dime size, they weren't real huge. But you can get them bigger, you can make them out big.
We can make them quarter size.
All the
Yeah.
traditional coins that are used now are about that size. But
That's because they're traditional.
you all met me, I want to lean more towards the $50 size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if you're gonna do it,
You're serious.
you want it out there out of the crowd. That's
You want
right.
a punch buckle in the center of your voice.
Yeah.
What would be, hopefully,
Use
we can cross our fingers that the Moneyers Guild still has that dime.
Yeah,
Probably.
yeah.
Because they don't get rid of anything.
Nope, they
So, yeah, but yeah, that was a cool thing, because we're Danegeld Tor, we have to have coins.
Absolutely.
I saw that piece of paper. I don't remember ever writing the check for it.
Yeah.
But, if you remember then somebody paid for it.
It might have been
Well,
the
but
money
maybe
had
you
built
would
in
be
that.
extra. Yeah, they wouldn't have known.
Yeah, so I don't know, I thought we had it made, but maybe my memory's not serving me right tonight, so.
Over 50 of the silver shillings. We haven't sent any money as yet, not knowing what the price of silver will be. Please bill us as soon as you know. You can send the bill to right now.
Yeah,
I saw that and I was like, I don't remember that. But, you know, it was a long time. It was a long time ago.
It was a long time
Somebody's hall and
Since then.
burning out the
Yeah.
rats.
and we drew tons and tons of different devices, as you see in those papers.
Yeah.
We drew oodles of them, my daughter drew a bunch of them, I drew some, the rougher drafts are mine, my daughters are beautiful. So we drew lots and lots of stuff, and the one we submitted to the heraldry office, they had to adjust because we're too close to something else that I'd never seen before. And so they adjusted our device so that it was not so close to the other one. Because I think I had the ship sitting on the water and different things like that,
They
so.
needed more points of difference.
Yeah, they needed more points of difference.
Nowadays, you need like half of a point.
Oh, really?
There's too many people,
Wow,
too many devices registered.
yeah.
The report you did March of 95. Maybe that's what I'm looking at for here. Business meeting, general special, yada yada, blah blah blah. Talked about demos, heavy fighting, all the standard things. Events, sponsor, Peasants Feast. Yada yada. Comes down here this last little bit. Tidbit. At Arts and Sciences Tourney AS, things I can't read. The Shire of Danegeld Tor officially made their presentation to their majesties of Valgard and Megan.
Good.
To their highnesses that are present to officially become a shire. At that time, Danegeld Tor gave gifts to their majesties in the form of leather roses, bottles of wine, bunches of carnations, crushed stitch needle pieces, cookies in the shape of castles, a watermelon dracar under full sail, flanked by melon swans, kiwi birds, and beet butterflies,
Yep.
with their royalty present. The royalty were all very pleased with the presentation. We were granted our status of Shire at that time.
That's the one we were talking about.
Yep, this is page 3, yeah, it's a page thing. Yeah.
What year was that?
95,
95?
yeah.
It looks like the
Let's not think about that, okay?
So I'm guessing, because this is page 1, 2, and 3, and there is no date, no signature on any of it. But then I hit the next page in the pile, in the order of which you gave stuff, was topic first quarter Seneschal's report, March 23rd, 95.
So it was in 94 that we presented?
This is where Deanna says you had to step in as deputy. Oh no, I had to step in as deputy Kate McLeod of Skye.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Catherine of Skye? That then later became, no, she's not old.
I don't know.
Somebody thought it was Catherine of Skye, who then became, brain just fell right out. She was our queen with Roger. She's the one that Angus dated when he left Farley.
It was Zenobia.
There we go, Zenobia. This her, Zenobia was Catherine of Skye.
It was not her.
Okay. I'm just saying, she has been around, I think she's not old enough.
No, she's Misty. I don't think she's ever done any. I don't think it's right.
Similar names over time.
Yeah.
Got
But
it.
if that report that you just read was first quarter of 95, so March of 95, then the presentation hadn't been in 94.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if we did it at PERG,
Right.
then it would be 94. Because unless they're out of order.
Here, and attached as part of the year-end branch report. Because that's what's in front of it in the pile.
If you only have one person doing all the chronicling, they don't have to sign it because everybody knows who it is.
They should date it. They should always
It's probably
date it.
dated on cover sheet or something. There's a whole stack there. Don't expect something to sit for 20 years in a stack and stay correlated.
Yeah.
Almost 30.
Shush you.
No, it's hush
Can you get the
you.
shovel out? Start throwing dirt down? Yeah, your hair will.
It was yesterday, what are you talking about?
Yeah. The
Enrico,
order.
Before I came in here, I don't know if I remember.
Enrico, he
Apparently, according to
was a
them,
big guy, he was a great herald, he loved waking everybody up in the morning. I do have a funny story about him though.
Who was it
Not-
again?
Huh?
Who?
Enrico,
Okay.
the herald,
Mm-hmm.
and he was doing, Fleet had asked him to get up and do the heraldry to tell everybody what the day's events were gonna be, first thing in the morning, and he forgot
Time
about
change.
the time change.
He
Yep.
ran his
And
clock
got up
wrong
before,
direction.
before dawn, and was making his announcement, and
And they had
Fleet
to
was
reset Enrico.
screaming, trying to get him to stop.
That's so he
Your
couldn't
8
hold.
AM announcements at 6 o'clock, Skippy, go back to bed.
Hey now,
I believe,
Enrico, not Skippy.
I believe there was an announcement after that, the
Skip.
herald has been
Enrico.
reset.
Yeah, there was an announcement, yeah. He's like, I was talking to us at the meeting, and he's like, I thought it was too early, but it's, it was 8 o'clock.
Lee told me to.
No.
He ran his clock the wrong direction.
No, the time change, he forgot.
I tell the story at least once every 2 years still. I still hear that story. Like,
Oh, yeah?
Somebody mentioned it completely like, I don't want to have to reset another arrow.
It's an original territory map.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ancient archives, you can now go back and
No,
resurvey your borders and
Yes.
take a large piece out of all your neighbors.
You move out, this is our land. I got the original survey,
Sounds like.
There should be a list, I don't know if
No
there's,
rating is called for, she's right.
I don't know if there's a list in there of all of the zip codes, but that have all the zip codes all listed out, because that's what they wanted me to do all the zip codes.
Yeah, I saw that.
So,
So have we lost territory or something?
Well, we might have been interested one.
I think what happened during the beginning of the Shire is they had a whole procedure of how they wanted to do it. That had been shortcut a couple of times, and a couple of the Shires had crashed and burned further away. And they decided they were gonna quickly through all of the stuff, because they wanted all the work, just in case. And that way, if you got all the way through it, kind of like bureaucracy, you get to the end, you're serious. I think that's part of what happened, because there were several Shires and/or, I think there were a couple of baronies too, I won't name any names, that just about crashed and burned because they were approved very quickly, they swelled, and then entropy happened almost instantaneously,
yeah.
and now they're gone. And some of them disappeared. Some of the people have gone like, I haven't seen you in 30 years. I'm not here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like that is it.
Right after we became a Shire, we had a group of people really pushing for us to be a baron. And they
It's
thought,
cyclic.
that by telling Bob and I that we could be the baron and baroness, that we would want to do it. And we're like, no,
We
not
know that trick.
I
And
think
then-
you guys have been through that, and Randy and I have been through that.
Yeah, somebody else said, well, I'll be the baron. I'm sorry, but if you're volunteering to be the baron, you are not
You're
correct.
automatically disqualified.
You're the wrong guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Is how,
Anybody who wants the job doesn't.
and
want the
so
job.
those seneschal notes I excluded because I don't want to hurt anybody or create any drama of any kind, so.
It's all water under the bridge.
It is,
Yep.
and it needs to stay under the bridge.
And if they're dead,
It's in the past.
You don't know what you're asking.
Yeah.
It's all blood under the bridge.
Huh?
It's all blood under the bridge.
Don't dig up the
But,
bodies.
no,
It's water, if it gets brought up again, it could become blood.
I just told everybody, I said, listen, you can vote to be a barony if you want to, but if you do, we're out. we're not involved in the group anymore because we're done. We're just not gonna do it. And they were like, oh, if you're not gonna be here, we are not gonna go to a bear.
But some of us don't
And I
have
am
to
like,
do the work.
good, because we don't want to, because it creates so much more drama. Shire is so much easier. Baronies are tough. And then when a baron and baroness step down, there's even more drama. And I'm just like, no, we're not.
We've all decided, because we've gone through this a couple of times, even just since Ray and I moved to Sonago, which was then pushing 10-ish.
Well, we just had this same issue come up 2 years ago.
Yeah, it came up, yeah, it comes up a lot. But we're perfectly happy being the little shire that does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not the little engine that could, we're the little shire that does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to ask, do you remember when we decided we were going to focus more on service? Do you remember that?
That was way early on.
Yeah.
That was really early.
I want to say it was. I want to say it was because Golden Rivers had their fire practices. Benton Woods had the arts.
Right,
We decided we would be service.
yeah.
So it's been that way since the beginning.
That's nice to know, because that's the way I see the SDA, is we're not here just to have fun for ourselves. We're here to serve whoever we can in whatever way we can. And
Living history group.
yeah, I don't know, I just believe in reaching out to the community. I believe in helping our members as much as we can, being a coalesced group that works well together and doesn't have as many internal things, because you're externally focused. When you're externally focused, the internally doesn't get as much as bad, at least in my experience. So,
I absolutely agree. And I have heard it said several years back at this point, you know, it's just like, okay, we need to have people doing something other than Danegeld Tor.
yeah.
But we like doing.
Do you guys still do demos?
Come on in.
We have done one fairly recently, but with everyone working, it's hard to get the time
Right,
during the day.
yeah,
You know, weekdays are difficult.
yeah.
But I believe someone just did a demo not that long ago.
Yeah.
At a school,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's best when you can find someone who, you know, can get off easily.
Right.
But if you don't have anybody, then it's hard to do demonstrations and stuff. But you can still reach out to Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. Yep, that's the device submission.
So, hold on just a second. All right.
We're discovering exactly how deep to go is on Michaela.
Kid in the candy shop.
Hold on. Yep, there it is. The original device submission.
So the paperwork I scanned in as I got it out of my folder.
So it's pretty chronological.
It should be. Although there may be some where I, you know, just stuffed it in the back.
There is information in there that you're planning on doing a Peasants Revel or festival every year. Do you have to do it more than 1 year?
Not the same way, but we did it at least 2 years. But, you know, sometimes you just can't fit an event within the kingdom and the principality calendars. And so,
You know that one?
yeah, so it may have just gone by the wayside, but I know we did it at least 2 years. But the second year was a little different than the first one. The first one was just a little rowdy, I tamed it down a little for the second one.
I want to say that I completely forgot about there being the Peasants Revel, but we do still have at least one event every year. And we do it as a no charge event because the park doesn't cost us anything.
Right.
And so we don't charge an admission to it. We do accept donations and we'll have an auction that will help raise money for the Shire so that we can do the things.
Yeah,
and give the assistance that we can to the kingdom and to the principality.
right.
And that started out back in 2008.
Do you still have the,
Is that the squirrel?
The squirrel with the nuts.
Any tire tracks?
This is the flats one. I don't know whatever happened to that one.
I'm not seeing that one.
I know.
No tire
I
tracks?
think that drawing was
That one
in
doesn't
Dodge,
No.
but
No,
I
this is
didn't
a
see
plane.
it. We were disseminating these things when he.
Well, I just scanned it,
I'm
and
like,
oh, there
look
it
at
is,
those great
yeah.
squirrel flats, and they're like,
That's not a great squirrel flat. Squirrel?
I was just because, you know, kinds of dead squirrels anyway. They're like, no,
That's
we
true,
can't
we
do
got
that.
Fleet just didn't go for that idea with the black density lines.
We
It's
told them
very
about
small, right?
We told Fleek, we didn't submit it, of course, we just told Fleek about it, and he
He
goes,
said,
oh, no. He goes, you're not doing that right, and we're like, no, it's okay.
Tire track.
Well, at least he asked you.
That's the density lines.
That's getting out. So,
Yeah, no, we didn't do that, we did something a little more upscale, only, I don't know if the Vikings are more upscale than squirrels or not, but.
It's still
I'm
there.
Vikings
scaling
Bay.
flat squirrels.
This is
North
true.
Carolina, Squirrels not so,
But,
dead squirrels
yeah.
not at all.
Yeah, so a lot of the naming was me because I loved the Viking era and I loved the Viking longships. And had tons of books on them and wanted to build a scale model of my own.
Do the table, a dining table.
Yeah, scale models of those little ones are really, really difficult because they're so long and so skinny. Those boats are super narrow for their length. You wonder how they even stayed upright.
All the oars.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, it's just
Actually,
amazing
with
to me.
the shape of the hull.
It was more flat bottomed.
Well, we have a
Rather
little,
than very flat, yeah.
hey, can you go get that shot?
Oh, yeah, we got a few more things. to
We
think
have a
about.
couple little things to show you.
Okay. Do we want to take a break real quick while he's?
Yeah, we can take a break,
Okay,
yeah. In fact, if somebody wants to go out and help them get the box of books,